So, I just found some stuff out about the government and the shutdown. And I don't know what you guys have been hearing or processing, but have you noticed that nobody's ever actually explained why the shutdown is happening? The government shutdown? Nobody's explaining that, right? It's just that the Republicans and the Democrats can't seem to come to terms, and so that's why this shutdown is happening. So, that's affecting people that are on food stamps or things like this. There's going to be no money for any food stamps this coming month. And the food banks are scrambling to be prepared for this high volume of people that are most likely going to go to the food banks if they can't get their EBT. And obviously this is affecting air transportation and it's affecting government employees. It's an unknown. Nobody really knows what's going on. And all you hear about with the food stamps is that, people have to do vocational training or they have to get a job and work so many hours. But they're not telling you nobody's getting food stamps for starting November 1st. So that's why a lot of the food banks are working on getting situated, right? And the thing about that, it's like, obviously people want to have their own. Not everybody eats the same thing, right? So it'll be interesting to see. A lot of people don't like food bank food. Like, there's different cultures. Different cultures eat different things. Like, that's why it's easier just to have the EBT. What's going on, Zeno? So, here's what I'm learning, though, guys. And if you're new to my channel, subscribe. But here's what I'm learning. Okay, because nobody's explained why the shutdowns happen. What I heard today is the reason being is because there's obviously people, big corporate companies, they put money, it's called lobbying, where they put a lot of money and they back certain politicians, or in other terminologies, representatives. Politicians are also called representatives. When they campaign to get elected as an official, you have these corporations that put money up. Well, right now, there's an issue with these big insurance companies like Aetna and these type of corporations that put money towards these politicians. So a lot of people are probably thinking that it has to do with Trump, but it's not. It's in between the Republicans and the Democrats. And the problem is that the credits, they're called credits, which is basically another way of saying money. The credits that go to these big health corporations are not, there's a questionable whether they're getting paid out or not. So it's almost like a punishment to everybody else. And so that is why you have some Republicans and Democrats that are not coming to term on the shutdown, and that is why the shutdown is just happening because they're saying they can't settle. Why can't you settle then? Well, the truth is that some of these insurance companies are lobbying and putting money towards Republicans, and some of the insurance companies are putting money towards the Democrats. And it makes sense as to why the actual government shutdown's happening. So, do your own research, but that's what I came across today. It's an interesting concept. Because again, nobody is explaining to us where the shutdown happened. And I'm sure a lot of people are just going to jump to it was Trump. I'm not sure why these credits are not going to bigger insurance companies. Maybe because they shouldn't be taking as much and they shouldn't be overcharging. And so maybe Trump's trying to put an end to that. But by that, they're trying to retaliate because, it's all this corporate greed stuff. And then you've got politicians selling out for the lobbyists. And I've seen this happen a lot with Uber and Lyft, where Uber and Lyft put a lot of money towards certain politicians, and they say, hey, we'll put this money towards you, but we don't want these specific bills to pass. We don't want rights for drivers or anything like that. So if we put this money, you have to make sure that you don't sign any bills for that. And we'll continue to keep throwing money towards your campaigns. And so these things, a lot of people, I don't know if the majority of the people know. So for instance, there's a Prop 50 in California, right? And I can't read the chat because of the sun, and I'm at an intersection. So I'll read your chat in a minute. But there's Prop 50, and people in California are voting right now up until November 4th. And what the Democrats are trying to do is they're trying to get Trump out. They don't want him second termed. So, and they want to get Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, as president. He wants to step up and go in. So what they're doing on a national level with this Prop 50 is they're wanting to pull everybody's voter rights away and have the Democrats be the one in power of the voting. Meaning only those representatives have power over the voting. So we the people, they're trying to throw out, and they're trying to say, oh, it's only temporary. We're only going to sign this bill temporary in California because it's a strategy to get Gavin Newsom in there. And Obama's backing Gavin Newsom by doing this. I personally don't back that. I think that it's it's kind of like watching these adult children that are like, that's my toy and nobody can play with it. And it's, and you cannot do that when, you're, let's say, at a local library and all the books belong to everybody. Everybody's allowed to read the fucking books. Everybody's allowed to play with the toy. Everybody's allowed to have voting privileges. Prop 50, by voting yes on Prop 50, puts all the power in the Democrats' hands. And that's what's going on right now in California. Obviously, I voted no because it needs to be a fair playing field. That means nonpartisan, Republican, Democrat, all get to vote equally as we the people. The power should be us as the people voting for these people in. But this Prop 50 will basically take that all away. And it's crazy because if you look at each state, you can obviously know how many, is there more Democrats than there are Republicans in a state, right? Is there more? And so if you do that state by state by state, then you could see how the problem is already a problem before you even vote. And it's also separating us as the people, because that's not what we agreed on. Everybody can have their own opinion and vote, but like, it's not okay to come up with a bill to be like, yeah, only the Democrats. And so that's what's happening in California on a national level. On a state level, you're taking the voting rights away. And so Arnold Schwarzenegger, our former government, is saying, you cannot be doing this. Like, that's not fair. Like, Democrat, Republican, you can't be doing that. So if we have more Democrats in California, you could see how this is already a problem before the vote even comes to ballot. And that's what they did in Texas already. So it's insane. It's literally psychopathically insane to take voting privileges away from all the Californians. And so that is what voting yes on Prop 50 is going to do. So I, of course, voted no on Prop 50. But the government should, like, and so all that type of corruption, it's like the government shut down. Nobody is explaining why it's happening. So I encourage you guys all to look at that yourselves. And, you know, Janet, Zeno, what's up, Zeno, again? Amber, what is up? Sweaty, where are you, Sweaty? I need to have a talk with you, man. Where are you, Sweaty? Because you deleted a whole bunch of people's chats, my mod. Deleted a whole bunch of chats in here. People were saying hi. And you deleted a whole bunch of them in here, Sweaty. And you shouldn't have. So I'm waiting for Sweaty to come up. Where have you been, buddy? But anyways, yeah, and if you're gonna be my mod, you cannot be deleting messages if people are just saying hi, okay? I can't have you doing that. But anyways, I just wanted to inform you guys that that is something that is occurring. A little bit of news on California, and then some news on the shutdown and why nobody's talking about why the shutdown's happening. It is because health insurance corporations put a lot of money, and that's called lobbying, to get these representatives, politicians elected. They back them with a bunch of money. And right now, they're not getting their credits to get paid. And they could be backing Democrats and Republicans. And then the Democrats and Republicans, you know, they're going to back the health insurance, the corporate greed. And so now it is now a government shutdown because they're saying they can't come to agreement. But they all know that it's because they're doing this because they kind of have to. They have to, because if it weren't for the health insurances that have elected them as an official, a politician, they wouldn't be sitting in the House of Representatives. So this whole system of how that's happening, it shouldn't be allowed. There shouldn't have to be. The problem is these campaigns should not have lobbyists. There should be no lobbyists when it comes to someone running and campaigning. They should have to carry that financially on their own. And then if they win, they get a kickback to cover those costs of their own campaign. Because the lobbying and the corporate greed behind all of that opens up doors for all this crazy psychopathic stuff, right? So if we got like lobbyists out of the way that throw money at these politicians and they just travel and pay their own expenses or they get a loan for it, instead of having millions and millions of dollars to answer to, when corporate companies come in, they already have an agenda for the black money. Black money meaning, it's not good money. So they already have an agenda that they want these politicians to abide by even before they get officially elected, whether it's in state or whether it's on a federal level. And so that's what's happening right now with the shutdown is these greedy health corporate companies like Aetna and some of these other ones are like, we want our money, because they get a certain amount of credits from the government, meaning they're going to get paid from the government. And that's really why the shutdown is happening. That and it's sad because a lot of people that don't understand this, they're getting thrown under the bus. They're just thinking of their 9 to 5 working at the government. They don't really understand all the stuff that's now trickling down. And that's why I'm talking about it, because has anybody even thought to think about why the shutdown's happening? So, I encourage you to do your own research on this. But at the same time, why is it always the lobbyists that they have too much power? They're the ones that actually have the power. So if these officials want to be elected, we just need to get rid of this lobbyist bullshit. Because I've seen how corrupt, and this is just my own personal perception, but corrupt Uber and Lyft have been when they've thrown money towards certain politicians and said, don't pass these bills, don't allow drivers to have fair rights, or don't allow this from the drivers. So basically it's not an even playing level field to even say, hey, this isn't right, this isn't fair. And I feel like a lot of people give up because they're like, well, there's so much power, what can I do? But I'm saying, if you get rid of the lobbyists, the lobbying that's going on in America, it would even field everything. And throw these fucking bills out that are like, oh, let the Democrats and the elected officials have power over your voting rights. And all these little things that are going on state level. They're not little, they're big. Because if you get every damn state doing that, then nobody's going to be able to fairly vote. Whether it's like, again, I say, it's like the Democrats saying, that's my toy, nobody else can play with it. And it's like, what are you talking about? Everyone in America is allowed to vote. Everyone in America is allowed to play with that toy. Everyone in America is allowed to have their own opinion. I don't care what you are. I don't care if you're Democrat. I don't care if you're nonpartisan. I don't care if you're Republican. I don't care what you are. Everyone should be allowed to vote. And so you have these politicians that have these pressures to enforce certain bills for their own agendas. Like Gavin Newsom, the governor of California right now, who wants to become president. That's great. That's great that you want to become president. I have no problem with you wanting to become president. What I have a problem with, though, is when you use money to corrupt and take away voter rights to then get yourself presidency. That is not a fair play. So the problem to me goes back to, it's the lobbyists. It's the corrupt corporate greed that's throwing money at stuff to get their way. And that's got to stop. And that's all I'm going to say about it. But if we didn't have lobbyists, and if they had to pay for their own fucking campaign, we wouldn't have a government shutdown right now. Period. And a lot of other things that fly under the radar that your average person doesn't understand or know about, because everybody has different education levels. So the reason why I started getting involved in that stuff was because I was seeing how it was already affecting my life. And, you know, it's like you're out here trying to do the right thing, and then you're realizing it's affecting your, you know, these upper hand things that are occurring, these bills that are being signed, or this lobbying that it affects the average worker, whether they know it or not. So yeah, that's why the shutdown's happening. It's because of the corporate greed, and the Republicans and Democrats are trying to back the health insurance companies that have lobbied and given them money. And I think that's a bunch of bullshit. So we'll see how long this lasts. Trump's obviously aware. We'll see how long this lasts. Whether you're a Trump person or not, it's just he didn't do any of that. So and people that don't know, they're just gonna like obviously go right to blaming him. If anything, the hand that Trump has in this is saying our healthcare, these companies that are overcharging for surgeries that need to happen and things like that, these companies shouldn't be allowed to be doing that, to be ripping off the average people. And so now there's all this pushback. And now I'm understanding that. But, yeah. I mean, November 1st. So the whole month of November, people aren't going to be able to eat. It doesn't matter, like, because you're hearing all on the news, like, oh, if you're a certain age and you're able to work, it has nothing to do with that. Nobody's getting food stamps. Nobody. Like, they're not talking about that. Nobody is getting food stamps. And this is November 1st, which how are they going to afford to eat a Thanksgiving meal? How are they going to afford to eat at all? Like, let alone just celebrate a holiday and be happy. So, I also find it very strategic that the shutdown and everybody that has food stamps, is not getting anything. And some people might be for that. But what I'm saying is I find it very strategic that the Democrats and the Republicans could not agree. And that's why the shutdown has been happening. And now there's a lot of people that won't be able to celebrate their holiday or even have the money to eat at all for that month unless they go to a food bank. And let's face it, food banks, that's nice they do food banks, but it's like, wouldn't you rather, as a human, have the decency to go to the store with your EBT card and get what it is that you want to eat? Not we got donated boxes of lettuce, so you have to eat lettuce, and you don't eat lettuce. Or here's some canned corn. You know what I mean? Like, here's like 10 canned corns, and you don't want to eat 10 canned corns for, that week or whatever. The food stamps give people the decency, whether they have different cultural differences on how they eat, what they eat, to allow them to have the decency to eat the way what they want to eat. And so it's not just these people that are not working and blah blah blah. It is everybody. Everybody. And that's sad because it's like also there's a lot of states that they don't have a lot of work. So even to try to enforce that work law on its own it doesn't make sense, because you could be in Arkansas where there's no work and you could have no money to get out of the state of Arkansas, no money to move. And now your food stamps are taken away, and maybe you get little bits of part-time work, but it's not enough to keep a roof over your head and food in your belly. So there's mid states that are like that. Like, there's certain states that just don't have as much resource as other states. And some food banks are ramping up, but again, it's like you're at the mercy of whatever someone tells you what you're going to eat. So this government shutdown is not only just ridiculous, but ask yourself, have you asked the question as to why, what the actual reason is? Because I don't think a lot of people know that it's because the health insurance want to get their credits. They want to get paid by the government. And if they're not getting paid and they've pushed out a lot of money lobbying to Democrats and Republicans, and they're the reason why they got elected as officials, then they have to answer to these health insurance companies. And Trump is like, fuck these health insurance companies, because they're charging too much at the hospitals. They're charging too much. We need affordable health care. And so their pushback to Trump is to punish everybody and think that it's Trump, when in fact they took black money from these health insurances in order to get elected, and they now have to step up in their little corruption game. So this is where I'm just like, we should ban the lobbying. We should ban corporations throwing money at these officials that want to get elected, because even before they get elected, they have this agenda to uphold whatever it is that whoever's throwing money, it's like, don't pass this bill, don't do that, and they're running the narrative. And how is that a level playing field for we the people? Or they're trying, like here in California, they're trying to say, yes, I'm Prop 50. No, I'm Prop 50, because you want to take my voting rights away so that you have more power as Democrats. I don't care if people want to have power, but keep it an even playing field, right? Like, allow the Republicans and the nonpartisans to vote and not just have all the power go to the elected officials, like what's happening, so that Gavin Newsom can cheat his way into becoming a president. That, to me, is a legal way of a rigged presidency. And he's blatantly telling everybody what he's doing. Well, if we get all the Democrats, to have all the power over everyone, what are you talking about? Right? So it's good to stay informed on what's going on, because you might say, oh, it doesn't affect me, until you get a government shutdown, until now all of a sudden you're not getting a paycheck and you weren't paying attention the whole time. And now your chance to vote is gone. That's why I voted no on 50 in California, because I know what Governor Newsom is pushing this bill out for. in his favor to become president on a national level, and he's okay with fucking over California and taking the even playing field of the voter rights away and putting all the power into the Democrats and those representatives. That's not how it works. That's called corrupt. And people are dumb enough to follow that agenda. That's the problem with voting, though, sometimes, too, is it's like, sometimes they hide it so well, you don't even know what you're voting for, and then they get it, and then you're like, oh shit, why did I vote for that, right? I feel like there's some of that where you could want to be Democratic maybe this year, but then maybe you want to change your mind. Like, there's no problem with changing your party or being nonpartisan, or, you know, I know people that do that all the time. But to vote yes on Prop 50 in California, you're not going to be able to change your mind. And then then you're going to rely on them to be like, oh, it's only temporary. Says who? Because once a bill is a bill is a bill, and that is it. And then what? You got to rely on, like, that's a lie just to edge it in to get the power. And you just mean to tell me that you're going to give the power back? I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. So, be careful. Be careful right now. How you spend your money, what you focus on. Educate yourself. Educate yourself in what's going on, because it does affect everybody. And like I said, the only reason why I got all involved in this stuff is because Uber driving showed me how corrupt lobbying is. Lobbying needs to be done with. And whoever wants to go and run their campaign, they need to come up with the money themselves. Get the loan. I mean, what? You gotta travel all the states and have your little speech, and I mean, it shouldn't cost that much to do. Get some volunteers to back you. You know, when did it become all about corporations running our country? Corporations causing the government shutdown. Corporations, greedy health corporations. You know, it's like, look at them be little baby adults when they don't get a paycheck. How about all the people you fucked over when you overcharged them when people were sick and they're relying on the healthcare system, and these corrupt health insurance systems like Aetna are overcharging, and you can't even afford your own healthcare here in America. Now they're not getting their credits from the government, and now, because of that, the Republicans and the Democrats took money from these fucking companies, and they have to shut down the government, because if they don't, then the corporations aren't going to come back around and lobby them. It's bullshit. We need to stop this lobbying bullshit. That's why Uber drivers, they were making 10%, and now, depending on whatever state, depending on whatever elected official, depending on how much money Uber and Lyft have thrown at these elected officials, now the drivers are only making anywhere between 50%, driving their own cars, paying their own bills, gas, wear and tear on, like they're their own contractor, right? How is that fair that they're only making 50%? The app isn't doing the work. The app doesn't have to worry about, the corporation doesn't have to worry about getting assaulted, killed. Like, it's a high risk, dangerous job. And so it goes back to lobbyists. It goes back to that. if we could just make lobbying illegal, our country would run a lot better. And then you would see who's really in it to really want to be there for the country. Because all these people, you know, they're in it for the money. They're in it for the money, and take the money away. Take all that amount of money away and see who's really going to be there for the country. They're still get paid good, but like, what do they need all the... And they're hiding money. They're scamming. Like the Palisades fire. It's like, there's millions missing. And there's paper trails. And that's not okay. That's not okay. The lobbying for people that want to be elected, that needs to go. And how we go about that, I don't know. But it just is common sense. There wouldn't be this government shutdown right now because of it. There wouldn't be unfair wages. There would be a lot of things that would be cleaned up. So I don't even think a lot of people understand how that works. And I could be wrong. But there's a lot of people that I ask them about these things and they don't know enough to even make the right decisions on voting. And it's like, you got to understand the basics. But if you're voting yes to take voter rights away, I don't care what party you're on. That's just basically, I'm a little child adult and that's my toy and I'm not sharing. That's not that's not what America's built on. America is built on a fair voting. No on Prop 50 in California. And don't let, Gavin Newsom cheat his way to presidency and have all these people throwing money at him, lobbying, throwing money at him, and then he has to keep his word to all these corrupt corporations that got him there, that helped him make money. I don't want a fucking corrupt president. I don't think any of us do. And again, I don't care what party you're from. I really don't. Nonpartisan, Republican, Democrat. I want everyone to have a fair playing field. And I don't want to separate it. And they're segregating the people this way. And if they know, 85% of California is Democratic, then of course, Democratic people are going to be like, yeah, take the voting rights away from Republicans and nonpartisans. How is that fair? How is that fair? So that you can become a president and change the district maps? That's gerrymandering. That's gerrymandering. Two wrongs don't make a right. They just don't. So, and now people that work for the welfare office, they're like, what? I don't understand why there's a shutdown. It's because the fucking corruption of lobbyists. That's why. It's because Trump's trying to stop corrupt health insurance companies like Aetna to stop this corrupt shit, and they're fighting back, and they're making it to where the Republicans and Democrats are trying to control the shutdown, because these health insurances are like, we want our credits, we want to get paid from the government, we need that money in order to keep staying corrupt. And the politicians, and so they're reaching out to the politicians. Hey, you said if we threw money and got you elected and you're in the House of Representatives or you are an elected state official, you would help us. Here's what we want you to do. We want you to do a government shutdown and fuck it up the month of Thanksgiving. The month of being thankful. Because we're not getting our paycheck, right? So, how's it feel is what I want to say to Aetna. How's it feel not to get paid? How's it feel to get backhanded and corrupted back? And they're not being corrupted back. They're getting checked right now. And so what they're trying to do is be like, well, then we're going to check everybody. And then everybody's going to be mad at Trump. And it's like, do your own research. Because that's one thing Trump was saying was he wants better health care. He wants more affordable health care. Now the healthcare companies are fighting back, and they're doing this by fucking with the Republicans and the Democrats to not come to an agreement, therefore the government shutdown. At some point, it's going to stop. It will. But it's like watching a whole bunch of fucking children, adults, and I'm really tired of dealing with children and adults. Especially this year. I'm really fucking tired of it. They just play too many damn games. They're doing too much. Well, you know, like, don't pull me in. Don't pull all of us in running around in circles. Go run around in circles and get your head spun on your own. I'm not getting on the fucking merry-go-round anymore. Congrats. Your TikTok shop rising star. New shoppable videos you post will have the chance to receive increased exposure this month. View benefits. Well, the problem is, as an affiliate, okay, that's great. I am selected as an October rising star. Great. But we're in a government shutdown. So how many people are going to be buying on TikTok shop this month? They don't even know if they're getting a paycheck. They don't even know. People, I'm talking to government employees with tears in their eyes. They have children's mouths to feed. It's not just about EBT. The government employees, and it's like, okay, and then where's their resource, right? Like, they can't even go to EBT. Like, hey, I don't have a job. I need EBT right now. They have no resource. That's sad. The more high-quality videos you post, the higher your chances of being selected as a rising star next month. Post at least 8 shop videos. Okay, but where's my money reward that you used to do? I used to get paid $50 extra. Like, if you want me to post 8 shoppable videos with products in them right now, where's the fucking money that used to be? Now I'm a rising star. I don't give a fuck if I'm a rising star. Show me the money. I don't give a fuck about being a star. Show me the money. Rising star my ass. That's just, you're just trying to think you're gonna give me an opportunity to buy into some of my ego. I don't give a fuck about that. Where's the dollar signs? Where's my GMV? Everything has gone down since TikTok has new ownerships. My pay on TikTok has gone down since the new ownerships on TikTok. And that was all a political fucking thing too, right? Because they saw Americans making too much money, and they got to cap you, because the more money you make, the more power you have. And what? The corporations only want that power. So that's what's happening. 210 on my... I gotta bump that up though, because that's... I gotta bump up my affiliate score. my friend wanted me to do these products, and it brought my score down because they're a new shop and they don't have 5-star, and I still did it anyways. But at least he threw in some extra products, so I got to get those out. I got to get those videos out, and then once I start pumping high volume 5-star products, my score will go back up. But I haven't been able to focus on any of this because I've been dealing with being assaulted and my father passing away and all the fucking legal responsibilities that have fallen on me because of that. And, you know, making sure I'm legally okay moving forward. And, you know, there's certain things I'm going to have to cut my losses on to make sure I'm legally okay. Possible fraud and fucking fuckery, dude. I'm tired of focusing on that shit. Like, I'm tired of it. I don't want to be in this position, you know? But sometimes as an adult, you have to do things you don't want to do. But, you know, that's why I say, like, yes, vote no on Prop 50. No on Prop 50. Because do you think I fucking like the Democratic Party wanting to take everybody's voting rights away? No. But they're still allowed to have that opinion. They shouldn't have all the control. And I'm tired of fucking people thinking just because they think they should have all the control, you're fucking delusional. Quit playing games. You know what I mean? Like, my life, your life, isn't a fucking game to be played with. And they just play it like it's a fucking game. And it's like, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Like, shut the fuck up with your fucking psychopathic, delulu, psychotic, exhausting games. Go sit in a fucking white room with a straitjacket on and go play with yourself then. Because that's where I'm at with people on any level right now. I'm like, I understand you have mental issues. And for that, I'm going to respect that you have mental health issues. But at the same time, you're not coming into my life and fucking my shit up. Go deal with it. You know what I mean? My first love, my high school sweetheart, tried to call me with some bullshit the other night. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. I don't want to hear it. I don't care if you want me to go to hell. You are on drugs. You are drinking. You're a fucking alcoholic. You're not of sound mind. Come talk to me when you're sober every damn day, processing shit on a mature level. Because if you're just escaping into drinking all the time and doing the powder, like, I don't even know who you are. Like, I haven't hung out with you in, like, since I was 19 or 20, right? I'm in my 40s. I'm in my late 40s now. Get the fuck out of here. You've destroyed your brain. We're obviously not at the same level. It's okay. I respect your mental health. But you're not going to come into my fucking life, right? And pull some bullshit. I don't care if it's I'm at work where people have, they have psychotic issues. And they want to play sociopathic games. And their whole winning is knocking someone out of a work field and having it be all about them. I don't give a fuck, but you're not doing that in my world. I don't give a fuck. And that's where I'm at this year, because there's a lot of that I've been noticing going on in my world with the high amount of volumes of people that I deal with, just being on the internet and, and the movement you have. And not everybody's movement's clean. I'm going to shoot it straight. And, like, my high school sweetheart's like, you're blunt. Yeah, I get to the fucking point. And the point is this is the facts. I studied the facts. These are the facts. I'm not here trying to dilute it down because I'm drunk. I'm not here trying to lie over here and be truthful over there and then come back over here and lie. I'm not here to be on a fucking merry-go-round and pull people in and spin their fucking heads. I get to the point and I move on. And if you don't like it, get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care. Money, no money, I'm not selling my soul. Fuck that. That's why I say the lobbyist shit, the way these politicians are selling out and bending over and sucking dick for money is disgusting. They're the biggest prostitutes I've ever seen. They're the big, you know? And when someone tells you that they will suck dick or do whatever they gotta do, don't trust somebody like that, because those are the people that will fuck you over. Believe them when they tell you that. Because they're basically like, I'm a sellout that will suck dick. Okay, great. Thanks for letting me know. You're a fucking sellout. That's nice. You're not coming into my world and fucking me up and pulling shit on me. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? I don't care who you are. I really don't anymore. But we gotta prepare, because this is the times we're in. And as far as this AI utopia shit, you know, there's a lot of things I've been studying on that, and it's like, and what do I mean by utopia? I mean the universal income that people are talking about. The universal income where you don't have, AI does all the jobs, AI does everything, and us as Americans, we just sit back and collect. We're the ones that just sit back and collect the check, right? That's the utopia. Nobody has to go to work. That's a utopia. You can hang out at the beach or the lake or where, the desert, the mountain, whatever you want to do, and you don't have to go to work. That's the utopia. The universal basic income that they're talking about with the AI coming up. But do you think that these corrupt politicians that are psychopathic and it's not just about the money, they want to power trip and control and shit like that. And yeah, AI can buy them out. It's like, what do you want? You want another yacht? Like, AI will build it for you. You want another house? AI will build it for you. And they'll get to a point where they'll be like, I don't want the house. I don't want the yacht. I want to play, Hitler games. Because at the end of the day, that's what some of them are playing. Similarities to what Hitler was doing. And it's like a lot of people are going to go for the paycheck. I get it. Like the universal income. But then we won't need to have these high-paid politicians in our government. We could have something like AI run it. And people are afraid of that. But it's like, I'd rather take my chances with AI at this point than these psychopathic motherfuckers. And I'm not saying that lightly. Okay? Psychologists that have studied deeply in certain fields that psychopaths go into, politicians and surgeons. They make great surgeons. You want a psychopath as your surgeon because they don't like to lose. They don't like to whatever. You don't want a psychopath as your family member. Because they'll fucking probably try to kill you or some stupid shit, That's what you don't want. As a surgeon, like, go for it. You're going to be precise. You're going to be this and that. I mean, if they're genetically a psychopath, then they're here till they die. There's nothing you can do about it. They might as well find something that is of use. But if you're a corrupt psychopath that's, dealing with this corrupt lobbyist shit, and they're like, yeah, I'll fuck over as many people as you want, just give me the money for my campaign because I'm gonna win, you got a problem. So if it came down to it, like, obviously you already see that these psychopaths are just fucking up shit left and right, and it's like, obviously if it came down to it, maybe AI isn't the worst thing to run a government, because it's a computer. At the end of the day, it's not. And some people will say, oh, well, it will, it will humanize itself, and it will this and this and that. But at this point, I mean, I'd rather just take my chances with AI and give me the universal basic income, and then all these psychopaths, like, I would rather just be like, cut the check so that these psychopaths also get a universal basic income, and the playing level field is leveled out, and they don't need the money anymore, because building houses and building cars and all this shit that AI would do a lot cheaper than us going to work, and everyone raising shit and all the bullshit that happens with humans. Humans obviously are fucking things up. So standardize it. Let's see. I'm willing to see. And it may not be the most popular opinion, but there are some really big people that are tired of dealing with these bad type of big people that can see AI being used actually for good. And of course, you're going to hear only the agendas of how bad it is to use AI, because all the psychopaths, all these corrupt people are going to want to spin their narrative, which is they want the power, they want the corruption. Knock out the powers. So if you see, and you can do this in your own life, if you see people that are trying to power play you, knock out those power plays. If it's not a big deal to you, then what power do they have over you too? Now, obviously, when it comes to certain things, you have to step up. You have to. Like, it's just, even if you don't want to, you have to. But it's going to be interesting moving forward. I'm okay with embracing change, I'm okay with, we should put a contract on it and just say, hey, let's give AI a year or two and see how it goes. If not, we can go back to having corrupt politicians, psychopathics, if we could always go back to that. But imagine just having more of a peace of mind, and not, and then better health care, and people would have more time to grow their own fucking food too. They wouldn't have to be relying so much on the government too. Learn how to grow your own food and do these things that a lot of metropolitan cities don't teach kids. They just go to the grocery store or whatever. But enough of that. And also, you got to be informed to know what resources are available now in case they go away. You got to already have tapped into them now. Like right now, because I was assaulted in an Uber ride, I've already looked up all the resources of the things I can receive because of my assault. So if my case is watered down, it just depends on my police report on Monday when I pick it up from CHP. Based on the statements of what these other people involved are saying, depends on how hard I'm going to go on this case. I already have an attorney. And I may get another attorney too. I may have an injury and a civil. I'm not sure yet. But that's why I say you gotta stay informed on every little fucking thing you do these days. Don't rely always on the middleman. But, and if shit turns sour on that end, I already got another backup plan. And then I know the actual resources. Because it's a DA case, I have more resources I can tap into. And compensation. And one thing's for sure, man, you get assaulted, everybody wants to pay your fucking medical bills, I'll tell you that much. What does that say? That says they're not just gonna pay the medical bills, they're gonna compensate me. They're gonna compensate me too. This is the third time I've had to have my jaw adjusted, and that was just one blow to my face. I had 8 to 10 all around here, choked out, blinded on the highway. Hopefully my jaw stays where it needs to stay. At least it wasn't dropped and dislocated where you can't talk at all, but it did click out of place. So I've had 3 adjustments. I was having an earache, but I told the chiropractor today, because this is like a shit ton of chiropractic adjustments, that I was feeling it right here. And he's like, yeah, your jaw could still be out again. And then now, I don't want to open it big right now. I just want the muscles to relax from the adjustment from a couple hours ago, but I don't feel that earache anymore. But, earaches can happen because your jaw is out too. So if you have TMJ, if you have, and it could just be, you're stressed and you just carry your stress in here. It doesn't mean you have to be fucking clocked like I did, like I got punched. Doesn't mean that. It's like, right now, everybody's just doing too much around me. They need to chill the fuck out or get the fuck out of my life. And that's where I'm at right now. So, people that are helping me, yeah, I'm okay with that. Like my chiropractor right now. He's helping me a lot. It's like, I gotta rely on people that are of sound mind. I cannot rely on people that are fucked off in their head, doing drugs or doing whatever the fuck they're, doing whatever the fuck they're doing. It's not going to play out good in the long run. And you don't need people in your life that are not of sound mind running your shit. Like, it's just government, personal life, like, we don't need psychopathic people running the government. We don't need that. It's not going to play out good. Now we're in a government shutdown. What do people expect? We're giving too much reign to certain people. And if you don't pay attention, then some piece of shit's going to pay attention for you and rip you off while they do it. So you got to double check everything. And if you're not, then you're not going to know whether or not you're getting fucked over. And if, people are cashing checks they shouldn't be cashing, that's fraud. That's corruption. That's the things that, and it's like, why are you doing all that? You're gonna die one day, and people are gonna remember you by that. They're not gonna remember you by anything else. They're gonna remember all the times you fucked them over. Or they're gonna remember you by, that was a good person. When I wasn't looking, when my back was turned, that's a good person. That's why I like my chiropractor. I've known him since I was 19. He was my boss. Sound judge of character. He never fucked around with any of his patients. He's just always been good. I mean, I feel like my assault has made me question people more. But at the end of the day, you can't ever be 100% sure on somebody. But if you can be 99.99999% sure of somebody, I think I'll fucking take it. And I'm 99.99999% sure of him. But out of the hundreds and thousands of people I have met internationally, domestically, there's just a lot going on there. A lot of people have a lot of mental programmings and things to delayer. And, some of them they're not of sound mind. They're not of sound mind. And I've always been someone who's always, wanted to only see the best in people. And it's like, you got friends that care about you that are like, I really wouldn't trust this person, and it's like, shit. You almost want to be naive in giving the benefit of the doubt, but nowadays, it's like, people have to earn that shit. Don't just give the benefit of the doubt to people. It doesn't matter who they are. Don't just give it away. Make them fucking earn it. And if they can't fucking earn it, then they're a fucking pussy. Get them out of the way. Because you need soldiers in your life. You don't need fucking pussies. Because there's going to be days where you're going to be a pussy yourself. No offense to anybody. There's going to be days where you're going to feel like that yourself. And in those moments, you're going to need a fucking soldier. So, you can't have somebody that, it's like my high school sweetheart. It's like, I was literally like, you're a hot mess. I wasn't saying it to be like, other than just a surface level, you're a hot mess because, your mom passed away. Like, I get it. You're gonna have moments of where you're, and then it's like, how fucking dare you call me a hot mess? And it's like, just this whole like pussy shit. Instead of being like, yeah, there's moments I've been a fucking hot mess. Like, I've been a hot mess. When I was assaulted, I was like, there's a process, and it's a hot mess. Just the situation itself can make you feel like you're the hot mess. And that's really what I meant, is that, and it's like, now all of a sudden I'm being told to go to hell. And, fuck my husband. I don't even have a husband. Fuck my husband, and he could go to hell. And it's like, call me when you're not on the fucking powder. Call me when you don't want to use me to go to dinner because you feel lonely and you want to use me to go to dinner. There are red flags. And then it's like, baby, I ain't your fucking baby. I don't know where you've been, but I haven't been in your life for like almost 30 years now or some shit. Like, I'm leaning towards 58. Like, 28 years I haven't been in your life. Almost 30 years. Like, no, you can call me by my name. Right? And just because people have known you in the past, or just because you've known people in the past, don't just assume they're the same person you knew 30 years ago, because they could be hopped up on shit you don't even know. And of course people hide that shit from you. They could be on prescriptions. And it's like their stories change. You catch them in 20 lies and you're like, yep, there's another lie. Yep. And they're like, but I want to run this shit show. I'm going to run this shit show. And it's like, first off, if you want to do that, I'll give you a little leeway. Let me see what you do. Okay. Yeah, no. Now you got to step aside, and I'll take you more serious when you start taking yourself and your mental health and your physical health more serious. Because if you can't fucking take care of yourself, what makes me think that you could take care of supporting me in a way that I need to be supported and loved? It's common sense, right? And I feel like people run around thinking that because they want to get fucked up and fuck people off and play their little games, that nobody knows and that they're just superior and everyone's dumb. And it's like, no, people see through that. And because of that, and you see people allow people to run other people's lives like that, but like, that's a form of control. That's a form of toxic codependency. There's good codependency, like humans need to be with people, but there's also toxic codependencies where people do shit like that. You need to be able to love yourself, guide yourself in a healthy way, have good mental health, unless it's a genetic and you can't fucking help it. Then, a mature adult will have compassion for that. But you need to be honest with people if that's the scenario, so that people can understand that when you go into these weird patterns or whatever, right? And there's just a lot of those hidden things, which then become hidden agendas, which then become hidden manipulations, which then become fucking games. And that's the part that I'm learning now, that it's like, people they'll see some young, naive, young adult and try to take advantage of scenario after scenario. And then you see it on a grander scale, like with the politics and the government shut down and shit like that. And it's like, it's fucking everywhere. And you just gotta carve out your own healthy state of mind, trust in yourself enough to know you love yourself enough to do the right thing, not only for yourself but for everyone else, even if they're not of sound mind. And that might just be sometimes like with my high school sweetheart, he's gotta go. You don't get to come into my world and mess up my pressed clean sheets that I've pressed and taken the time to press and wash, because you fucking pissed your bed and urinated it, and your sheets are filthy 5 years ago. And people do that. They want to come into your clean sheets and leave their dirty shit over there, and then they come over to your clean shit and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck that shit up too. No, you're not. So sometimes the best thing to do is to tell them goodbye. Goodbye. Hello. We don't do that here. You might do that over there. We don't do that here. Goodbye. Go get some help. And what, you gonna flip out because I say go get some help? Because you know you need it. You know you're an unhappy, miserable fuck. And that's why you're trying to make me an unhappy, miserable person. Ain't gonna happen. Goodbye. I love myself too much. I'm not jumping on your merry-go-round. We're not gonna jump on somebody's merry-go-round to spin our head, right? Anyone who's doing that in your life, tell them to fuck off. And see how angry they get at you. Because then all of a sudden, their falsified egoic power and their games, they can't play games when you don't give them attention. And now you return back to your peace and the things you're working towards and the good things you're doing and all the things that you're doing to not just for yourself, but to help other people and things like that. Now, all of a sudden, they don't just get to be the disruptive piece of fucking asshole child jumping on the desk and screaming because they want all the attention out of a room of 30 other kids. No, that kid gets to leave the fucking classroom and everybody else gets to have the common field. They're sitting there being polite. They're sitting there growing and learning and doing the right things. They're the ones that deserve the attention. They're the ones that are doing the work. They're the ones that are putting in the time. And that's the thing that the loud, disruptive adult children these days don't understand. It's very fucking simple. Goodbye. Get the fucking kid out of the classroom. Get out. You're not helping anything by being that way. And if you have mommy or daddy issues because mommy and daddy didn't pay you enough attention and you feel you need to do whatever the fuck you're trying to do to disrupt the class, then you need to go get the proper help and work that shit out and quit involving innocent bystanders. It's that simple. Like, but I just get to a point where it's like I see this shit happening and I'm like, here we go again. I'm an adult having to fucking babysit other adults or know certain things. Sometimes it's like all the things I research and study, they're there for everybody. And if everybody just researched and studied their own shit, and I get some people may not know where to go, well, YouTube's a great place. YouTube has a lot of tutorials on self-help, how to get out of drinking every day, how to quit doing the powder, how to get off of prescriptions. If you're a psychopath person, what do you do? What forms of action can you take? If you have certain things, go on a tutorial. And then go into, if it's extreme, get into professional behavioral health or professional ways to help your sobriety. And you know, like I actually was dealing with somebody I was driving and it was like, he just lied all the time too. And he was allegedly, because I'm not pee testing him, but you know, he's saying he's going to AA meetings every day, you know, But then you catch them in a whole bunch of dumbass lies, and it's like, when they're volunteering to lie, just to lie for the sport of lying, that's a problem. And that is actually a medical condition. So you're doing all the things, you're sober, but you're still fucking lying. You gotta go. Because I'm in my world being truthful. I'm in my world presenting facts. I'm in my world studying and doing all the things to make sure it's of sound mind, of health, of all the things to help protect people. Lying doesn't fucking provide anything but lying. What good is lying to anybody? And then, people want to suck you in and start having you lie because who you hang out with, you become. So, then what? Then you just degraded your own fucking character. I'm not doing all that shit just to fucking, what, you want me to blend in with you? You want me to make you feel that I've accepted you so much that I'll fucking lie for you? Hell no. I'm lying for nobody. Especially when it comes to illegal shit. Protect yourself, Don't let people spin their bullshit. And just because they tell you something doesn't mean it's an actual fact. Do your own research, right? We know that already. But don't let things come back to bite you. Make decisions that are solid, that you look at all the angles. You look at all the angles and any which way it would go, it's still solid. If it's not solid, then you need to look at that decision to make sure that moving forward in the future, it's going to be a solid thing. So, and there's times where I'm like, I just want somebody to do shit for me, but they fuck your shit up like an accountant, like a tax accountant. It's like, nah, tax accountant's not a good one, but if they fuck your shit up, it's going to fall on you. It's not going to fall on them. At least with a tax accountant, they have to worry about if they're licensed and they fuck your taxes up. It falls on them. They can get their license taken away. And that's why they won't compromise or be part of some type of fraud, most likely, because they don't want their license taken away. But you got to know at the end of the day, if you're legally held for things, and they want to come in and third party shit, you're the one at the end of the day that is liable. And then what are you going to do? Tell the cops, oh, well, this person was dealing with everything. Sure. But they're still going to look at you, right? So you have to look at every fucking angle in your life and make sure it's a solid thing. Make sure people are of sound mind. Look at how they're fucking people over, like these lobbyists, right? And how they fuck over our government, our states, how they throw the horse reins, they just shove the bridle into these fucking elected officials once you pay them off and make them become their little fucking pony tricks. You have to look at all these things from a bigger level to your personal life level, or not. Or not. That's a choice. You can make that choice. At least you made a choice. But if you choose that and shit falls back on you, then that's your choice, that you just half-assed it. And a lot of people do that. Like, they know not to do that, and they still do it. But if that's the route you're going to go, then you need to be ready to face the consequences. I'd rather just look at all the holes and see all the angles and see which way anyone could pivot and then fucking patch up all the holes, all the places they could jump the fence, all the places, and then fucking make a decision and be like, yeah, it may look like a lost cut. You cut your losses. It may look like you're cutting losses, but at the end of the day, it's better to have cut a little bit of a loss versus something crazy, because people will try to power trip you in those scenarios as well. And you see it all the time with these politics. We're seeing it right now with the government shutdown, you know? So that's what I gotta say. That's what I gotta say. And as far as the way I've been operating my life like that, you know, now I want to be proactive on, is there a way to stop having the politicians? Is there a way to stop this lobbying? Is there a way to do that? Like, I really want to know. Now I'm curious. Because that is a hole. That is the fence. We either need to make the fence higher, we need to patch those holes up. My heart's going to go out to all these families that, you know, aren't going to have money for their Thanksgiving. I mean, rents are already high everywhere. And now they don't have a job. They don't have a paycheck. And they can't go to EBT and collect food stamps. And they got to pay rent. And bills. So that's why it's important to really fucking know what you're doing and who you're and what you're dealing with and who you're dealing with. And if you slack on any of that shit, it's not good. I gotta go. I'm gonna go do some other shit right now.